I'm Jeremy Greer.
And I'm Gary Butterfield.
And this is Days of Future Cast, where we are dealing with consequences, Gary. Can you think of a time in your life that you had a consequence that was significant, maybe a negative one?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
All the time.
We're not going to get into what it is. We're just going to... Gary's like, I've already told all of those anecdotes on Abject Suffering. Please move on.
No, I mean, there's none of them are fun stories, but it's like, this relationship's got to end.
Oh, gotcha.
I got to pull the trigger, and then you get the fallout of that.
Okay.
Like, I guess I get to sleep in an RV for 2 weeks.
Yeah, that's a bummer.
I
got ran over by a truck one time because I trusted the wrong guy. So that was a lesson, and staying away from Ford F-350s. So yeah, Trucules got me, man.
I think I remember you telling me that you'd been run over by a truck, but I don't remember the lore behind it.
Oh, it was just, we were 16-year-olds drinking in a church parking lot, and the dude who I was staying the night with that night, jumped in his truck and went to leave, and I was like, wait, that's my ride.
Okay.
And I tried to jump in the truck, and he didn't see me, and he put it in reverse and floored it. And then the door hit me as I was getting into the truck. I rolled. Somehow the tire rolled over me and only broke one of my legs, but it broke my femur in 3 places. Which, for all you people with femurs out there, that's a lot of places to break.
Hey, femur Americans. That sucks.
And if it had been, it could have been significantly worse. If it had been, 8 to 10 inches north, it would have been extremely bad. But as it was, I never even had to have a cast or anything. I did several surgeries and all that kind of bullshit. But consequence.
No cast.
Don't drink Boone's Farm in the middle of a church parking lot in Farmerville, Louisiana, and you'll not get run over by an F-350 driven by a guy named Chad. So,
damn. That's scary shit.
Yeah, it was not fun. But it's fine.
My friend Derek and my other friend Mike got hit by a car that careened off the road and hit them in the yard.
Oh no!
When we were in high school, they were just hanging out, in a yard, and a car just went vroom, jumped a curve because a lady dropped her cell phone and decided to reach down under to get it, and leaned over. And when she leaned over, she hit the gas and also was turned off the road, picking up her cell phone. And this was in 1996 or something.
Oh, Jesus.
So this Qualcomm,
bag phone
thing that she was picking up. Yeah. Ridiculous. I luckily have not been hit by a car.
Good.
Knock on wood.
I got ran off the road one time by an 18-wheeler coming into my lane, and had to go into the median, and my car spun 3 or 4 times, 360'd.
Oh.
And I was fine and drove the car and everything. And a lady saw it, pulled over, and she was a nurse, and she rushed over, and I just drove myself home. I was 2.5 hours away from home, so I just drove home. But it gave me anxiety about driving that I think still persists to this day. There's still times on the interstate where I'm and poor Autumn, because Autumn typically drives anywhere we go. And I'm that dude in the passenger seat just stomping on the brake, on the imaginary brakes, because I'm you're too close. I'm just that passenger driver, and it's the worst thing. I won't drive with any of my coworkers hardly. I'll meet you there. Don't worry about it. I will. We do not have to meet up and drive together.
It is the most dangerous thing that people do.
Yeah, it's definitely the most dangerous thing that a lot of people do extremely poorly. It's a miracle that there's not more accidents than you see.
Yeah. Yeah. Cool.
Consequences.
Yeah, let's get into consequences. Those are some consequences.
So this is a 5-issue miniseries written by Karen Gillian. I think the art changes from issue to issue, and maybe even inside the issue. But this is dealing specifically with the fallout, the kind of X and Avengers fallout from everything that happened in AvX. And our cover is a burnt up Cyclops kind of sitting in a crater as the Avengers surround him. Just a lot of Avengers feet, Gary. It's just a lot of Avenger feet.
Yeah. It's on that tag. Isn't it crazy that this costume manifested itself when he became the Phoenix, but then once the Phoenix left, he got to keep the costume?
Dope, dude. Dope threads.
It created matter.
I love it.
That he gets to keep.
The best thing is somebody had to peel it off of his smoking body.
Ooh, yeah. Yeah, the thing had to do it. That's why he was in that security blankie on the way home.
Exactly. Yeah.
So this starts off with Wolverine driving the Blackbird in the sky with all the students, telling them like, listen, you have to be respectful. This is going to be really hard. We give any help that's given. And the kids are mouthing off. And he's like, hey, just shut up for a little bit. We're walking into open grave. And they're going to go do an open grave dug by a mutant. And the idea is they're going to go help rebuild Wakanda.
And they are extremely quickly rebuffed because Storm shows up, tells them to turn back. And then on the ground, there's some anti-aircraft weapons that the Wakandas are using to try to shoot them down. They are extremely mad at all mutants. I like this one Wakanda dude that's on the ground and he's just holding his fist up like old man shakes fist at Blackjet. Blackbird, I mean.
Shake on a boy.
But Storm just basically is like, you gotta get the fuck out of here. Like, I will hide them hide you using fog, but you have to go. And they are super unhappy. And Wolverine, I think the core issue with AvX, it still really bugs me, Gary. Like, we've talked a lot about how like Cyclops wasn't wrong about a lot of things, and like there's a moment here where he's like, the Wakandas don't want us, Scott Summers, and I'm like, I mean Namor, right? Like,
yeah, Namor.
Like,
really.
I know you're not probably privy to the knowledge that we had that like Emma kind of made Namor do some of this, like, or at least hyped him up a little bit to do it. But it was Namor, right? Like, Scott Summers didn't show up and fucking blast the Wakandans. Like, Scott Summers, as far as I know, didn't kill anybody but Professor Xavier. Like, it's hard for me to put this at his feet, even with all of the other Phoenix stuff happening.
I agree. It doesn't make any sense. We still haven't gotten payoff on Emma Frost whispering that into Namor's ear.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we got them breaking up and Emma Frost saying she had sex with him, but that responsibility, like her kind of like pushing those buttons, has never been addressed.
I think the best time to confess that you had mind sex with somebody and like you're cheating on your partner using mind sex is right before they go to like super jail. That's a good time to. Yeah, it's a really good time to confess.
While eating psychic steak.
Yeah.
With psychic human blood. He's just like, oh man, they would kill children. They'd shoot down kids, and she goes, no, they'd shoot down me. Like, I showed up trying to do the same thing. You're not welcome, but I'm a criminal here.
Yeah.
Which some drama with Black Panther with his arms crossed with his criminal ex-wife.
I'm mad at you. We are having a disagreement.
it's good reaction gift there if you know that Storm's in the plane.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, and stay out of Wakanda. We cut over to Cyclops in jail here, and this is all like fascinating stuff. He's getting talked to by the warden. And he's like, oh, am I in the raft? Is this a shield base? And he's like, no, you're not that important. This is just a privately owned prison.
Yeah.
People thought, hey, maybe you should have been disappeared or killed. We didn't want to do that. We have to treat you just like another criminal. And now that their mutants are back, we need to be able to deal with a lot of criminals.
It is remarkable how fast like Captain America can go from like, you shouldn't do this, we need to trust our, countries have governments and governments are for the people, into our government said it was okay to make a private corporation own a prison full of mutants and we're going to give them Scott Summers to beat up all the time. Like, what the fuck, Steve Rogers? I know you don't make this decision, but also you make this decision. Like, you fucking make the decision. That's ridiculous.
It's also, he can't be ignorant of it too, because later he sends Wolverine there. Like, we get him in this issue. It's pretty bad.
The idea that Wolverine shows up to a private mutant prison and doesn't just fucking destroy it, it's just bonkers to me. Like, immediately should see what is happening here.
Yeah. It's some characters are acting a little off here. The idea of them just doing, Cyclops Oz, though, is extremely exciting to me.
This is fun. Yeah, this is good shit.
OzClops is cool.
Yeah, OzClops is great. Yeah. Also, this is probably a good time to mention his weird little bug helmet, and I love his weird little bug helmet. I don't know why I put an accent on that, but it's a little bug helmet. You know what I'm saying?
They mentioned it in the last issue. They're like, I hear they're coming up with a special helmet for you.
Special.
I can't believe it's
bug helmet.
He looks like a He-Man.
He really does. Absolutely. Yeah. Did He-Man ever go into the future? And I don't keep up with fucking He-Man, but like, did they ever do a sci-fi thing?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Like
sure.
He-Man, I think technically is the future.
Oh, that's right. That is right.
And is in space.
Yeah, that's right.
And Cyclops specifically looks a little bit like Mecha-Neck and Buzz-Off put together. Like I had a lot of He-Man as a kid. It's like I haven't followed any of the revivals or anything, but I was a He-Man kid. And yeah, this guy looks like specific He-Man.
This immediately goes bad because like the main dude in charge is just like, yeah, we need to be able to control, all of this criminal behavior, and so we gave you something, we invented something cheap that would contain the mutant problem, and it's a fucking shot collar for all the world that it looks like, and of course he has like a little remote for it. Just immediately into like fucking torturing people, dude. Like we're 3 pages into jail and they're torturing this dude.
Yeah, he's also already been like beat up.
Yeah.
Like for just saying something reasonable. They're like, oh, this, we're going to need a lot of mutants in jail if the crime rates stay the same. And, that's never been true. And Cyclops is like, yeah, like if you're fighting, back, and he just gets punched, like he doesn't get to say anything. They basically have a thing in the air that causes mutants to have seizures when they try to use their powers. And he has a remote, so he has a personal remote, so he can turn on Cyclopses whenever he wants, and zap him and give him a seizure. It's real fucked up.
Yeah.
Bad warden.
And they've cleared out one wing of this jail, just for the mutants. They're not putting him in Gen Pop. But he's not even the first prisoner in here. They've already have someone coming in. And the guy says as he's leaving, "You're just another criminal." And then it's time.
Yeah, you're not even the first criminal we have here.
Exactly.
One of somebody who was already in jail for no reason became a mutant. Not for no reason. I can't remember why he's in jail. But I'm leftist, but I'm not that leftist. He might have done something wrong.
Sure. There's a possibility that it wasn't just the system.
Yeah. He's white.
Over to Avengers Tower, where we see Hope doing what a lot of goth chicks do, just sitting on the side of a building reading a note from dad.
Yeah. Big goth GF vibes.
And this is
this is still the same artist according to the credits, but Tom Rainey is the artist we didn't name before. This looks so different.
What do you think this is? Because
weird.
like for whatever reason, all of these characters just look off to me in like a real fundamental way.
Like Cracked Magazine or something. Like they look like a cartoonist's take on them rather than a comic artist.
And versus the prison stuff, which looked spot on and good, and like the Bughead looked like appropriately like buggish. So like I don't like it's really strange. Like that's why I mentioned that the art changes, because I actually thought that the artist did change. So.
It might actually change, and it might be a mistake in the credits, or it might be like an artist doing an impersonation of another artist, or deliberately changing their style for the Avengers stuff to make it look a little bit more colorful and less sketchy, I guess.
But Hope has got a letter from Cable, because apparently Cable has been alive this entire time. Gary, I thought he was dead. But no,
nope.
Cable survives everything. He was in the X-Brig, and at some point during all of the chaos was able to leave, and he left Hope a note that said, "It's not your job to look out for me. Don't come looking," which is a very Cable note. So,
yeah. The Avengers, Wanda and Captain America are like, what do you want to do? Like now that all this stuff's done, what do you want to do? Like if you want to get on an Avengers team, you could do that. You can go join Wolverine's school. You can go become a SHIELD agent. You're old enough. What do you want to do? And she says, I like to just kind of be normal. And they're like, yeah, you get to be normal if you want. We're going to, in the rest of the series, she goes and hunts down Cable.
Yes.
She kind of doesn't really decide to follow through with this.
I mean, she spends a little time at school. Like she does one day of school, and it's like, why would I volunteer for this? I am a fucking mutant super soldier. This blows. But this idea that she wants to be normal, I think is really good. Like, she has grown up through multiple futures and as a soldier and did this all Phoenix stuff. Like it's time for her to like maybe relax a little bit.
Too many Summers dads. She's got to get some time away from the Summers dads.
Please do. We cut over to Mexico, where Iron Man and Captain Marvel are on the hunt for Magneto, which is one of the quote unquote not executioner team, but the extinction team.
Extinction squad. Or extinction team.
This is one of the big guys to get away, and they not necessarily want to arrest them, but also maybe want to arrest them. Like it's kind of a legal quandary, and seems safer for everybody.
Like with Storm, they're like, Storm came in from the cold. Like she joined us. You know, we don't have to worry about that. And Storm's not in jail. She was trying to help with Conda and stuff. Magneto, though, like, you know, they obviously would have reasons to be scared of Magneto. He's got a big history. So I imagine they probably want to get him in trouble.
And we learned a lot of this.
They make sure they're not wearing metal.
Oh yeah, sorry, I skipped ahead
here. Yeah. And then miss him. Nothing really happens here. They just bust into a bunker and there's no Magnetos inside.
Yeah. Oh, we missed him again. Setting up something that we're going to figure out a little bit later. We jump over to the Jean Grey school where Captain America has shown up to yell at another mutant because that seems to be the thing that turns him on the most.
Yep. Fucking asshole.
And basically just tells Wolverine, like, hey, you need to help us get... first you need to help us, like, either find these mutants or have Cyclops tell us where they are, because, you know, this is... You know, we've got Emma, and that was good. Magneto's still out there, and, like, after everything that he's done, we at least need to have a conversation. And this feels very like jackbooted thug to me, Carrie. Like, I know Magneto's done some shit. I have a hard time seeing, like, during this AvX stuff, like, what Magneto has done that was necessarily wrong. Like,
he mostly tried to talk Scott down.
Yeah, like, what? And again, I don't want to be that guy that just hammers the same point on. But, like, what have the X-Men done to deserve all of this business?
We're very pro X-Men, and I think you and I, this Wolverine school doesn't feel like the X-Men.
Yeah.
You know, at least to me, just because the tone is so all over the place, and, you know, Toad's a magic janitor, and all that shit. So it just doesn't, it feels like it's my last source for X-Men.
Yeah.
Is that more traditional team rather than this goof 'em up squad. I love Wolverine having just 2 samurai swords on a bookshelf. You notice that?
Yeah, I did. Now that you said it, yes, absolutely. They got to be short little guys too, right? Like, that's got to be like, because there's a shelf
with long handles.
Yeah, just 2 short little guys.
Blades shorter than their handles. 2 stupid little swords.
2 stupid tiny little Hobbit swords. Look at that. 2 little Sting knockoffs. I bet that's what they are. Is 2 little, like, you know, foam replicas of, you know, Sting.
He probably started making swords, and those are his first 2 tries.
Sure. Yeah. Why not?
And he keeps around for sentiment.
You watch one Netflix series, and all of a sudden you've got a fucking cistern in your backyard. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I can't believe I bound the Tane. The Captain America's logic behind this is like, this is gonna be really bad for mutants if we don't take them down. The public is gonna start making Sentinels if we don't get Magneto in. And, you know, even if you can't find them, tell Cyclops to tell us what to do. Or tell us where they are. Wolverine's like, he won't do it. Captain America's like, it's worth a try. And he's like, I can't. And Captain America demands to know why. And Wolverine says, you know, I buried Professor Xavier. I was doing an impression of somebody who was gracious and, you know, was into love and fraternity and growth. That was in my brain. But what I really want to do is kill Scott Summers.
Yep.
You know, it's going to be a bad conversation. He pops his claws and probably ruins another white shirt.
Yeah. And just says, like, don't put me in front of him because I'm not going to be able to help myself. And Captain America just kind of accepts this and is like, okay, fine. You know, I'll try to cover for the school, and you know, we'll do our best. And this is where he pops it. Like, you know, there's always like some conservative, and they frame this as conservative versus progressive, which feels like a very dated metaphor even for the time. With the whole, you know,
if Captain America is progressive, it's actually like very accurate. Captain America is the shitty controlled opposition. You know, he's the Democrats.
Yeah.
Versus the Republican Sentinels.
More mutant guards.
He just wants to hunt them down with a smile. He's sending a rainbow flag Avenger to go hunt down all the mutants.
Exactly. Yeah. I guess you're right. This doesn't feel very dated at all. Now that you say it out loud, it's just weird to see this like political words used, I guess. But yeah, he's worried that people would start making more Sentinels. He's probably, no one's worried about them making more Sinisters except for Cyclops, which, you know, whatever.
Oh yeah.
Back over in the prison, we very briefly meet Cyclops' cell buddy, or his across the, you know, hall cell buddy, who was the first mutant, who just looks like a normal criminal, like whatever normal criminal, you know, outfit that you've got, like that's what this dude looks like.
He looks like young Carnage. He's got like the wild eyes and the red hair.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, got Carnage vibes.
Cyclops has a visitor, so they handcuff him and they shackle him and they bring him in, And there's Wolverine drinking some beers and says, hello, have you killed anybody lately? Obviously very angry. This also looks like a very mushy-mouthed Wolverine that I don't particularly like that much.
Weird Wolverine.
Mm-hmm.
When I first read this, I was like, it's ridiculous for Wolverine to be like, hey, have you killed anyone lately? Because Wolverine's whole thing is he kills, but they address that in the next issue. So it's at least, Cyclops calls Wolverine out on his bullshit.
Yeah, exactly. I really in the next
aren't you the leader of X-Force?
Yeah. In the next issue, like I really enjoy the Wolverine and Cyclops stuff. I think it's some of the best shit that
it's great.
It's so good. So glad we decided to cover this.
It's better than Schism. Like in terms of their relationship, like it's the best Wolverine versus Cyclops dialogue stuff. Yeah.
Extremely good. And that's Consequences, issue number 1. We're gonna cover the next 4 issues of this. I'm really excited to talk about it because it's really, really fun, and I think it kind of sends us off on it sets everything up so that if you wanted to continue reading the X-Men, you've got some really good places to jump on. Like I think if anything, they did a good job with that of making you want to go buy some more comics. So
it's real hooky.
Yeah, exactly.
Like I would 100% would have got the next. And this is kind of a service too. I imagine a lot of people missed this because it's just like another tie-in to the crossover.
Mm-hmm.
I think this is legitimately worth your time.
Yes, agreed.
Even if you're not really into AvX, we both have mixed feelings on AvX in terms of what this sets up for this era of the X-Men. This feels essential, and it's a really pleasant and interesting read.
Yeah, it's the good shit.
Yeah. If you want to get more of the good shit, you can go to patreon.com/Duckfeed.tv and give us some money and get bonus episodes and tons of bonus content. Just an unconscionable amount, and support your boys. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, please do. Ratings and reviews go a long way. Next week or soon, let me rephrase that. Very soon we'll be recording a feedback episode. So if you want to send us questions about AvX, X-Men in general, MCU stuff that we've covered since the last time we had a feedback episode, you can do so. daysoffuturecast.com is usually the best place for that. You can also DM me or the podcast on Twitter. I'll be watching all of those channels for your feedback, questions, and whatever else you want to send us.
Yeah.
And that's really about it. We'll be back in a couple of days, everybody.
We appreciate it.
Bye.
Take care.